Very good.
How were you able to turn around such a slow start? What do you think got you moving?
Oh, I thought in the second, average start from us today, but all credit to Hawthorn. They came out and played really well and moved the ball well. I thought just our ability probably in the second quarter, we sort of were able to stop some of their mark change, which allowed us to actually get the game played in our half. And probably the only disappointing part of the second quarter is we didn't finish very well, but I thought at half time the game had sort of swung and we're back playing a little bit more how we wanted to, which is credit to the players. They were able to make that adjustment in game and bring a bit more energy around the ball.
You would have noticed their uncontested marks through the roof early on.
Yep.
How did you actually shut that down?
That's credit to the players. It's easy to identify that. It's about the players then being able to go out and do something about it. And I just thought in the second quarter, I think the time in forward half for us was nearly 70%, and the game got played in our end. And to the players' credit, they were able to stop the switch and stop them being able to chip the ball around, which was great work by them.
And your height and strength up forward really told, even without Jenkins there in the end. I mean, you smashed him for marks inside 50 and contested marking as well. Well,
that's the thing, and sometimes we can move the ball with speed and get through, and other times we have to kick it long to contests. And to their credit, the talls down there, and Mitch McGovern in the second half took a couple of great marks as well. So I think Sam Jacobs had nearly 6 contested marks, both pushing forward and as a ruck. So. Sometimes we kicked to a contest and they got it done today, which was really positive.
Were you worried in the first quarter? You're losing your backup ruckman and your down a lot, or were you actually still confident that you could turn things around?
I felt at the end, probably midway through the first quarter, we probably felt like we clearly weren't playing with the same energy, say, as we played last week. I thought towards the end of the first quarter, our players just sort of gathered stock and mate, there's a few little signs that suggested we were just turning a little bit. Obviously, losing Josh early didn't help, and there was a little period of adjustment there where we worked out who was going to fill that role. We ended up swinging Andy Otten forward into the ruck, and he really embraced that. And credit to him, he's had his whole pre-season down back, and all of a sudden here he is. 15-20 minutes in his second game of the year, and now he's playing ruck and forward. So, and I thought he gave us a real contest down there, and both there and in the ruck, which was great.
Most of your list wouldn't have been Hawthorn, first time since 2011. Does that mean anything to the group, powerhouse team of our era?
I think, as I said before the game, we weren't really focused on necessarily beating Hawthorn necessarily. We clearly wanted to win the game. Great opportunity to play at the G for our squad, and to get a result at the G against a high quality opponent was probably more what we take away from the game. And in a lot of respects, it just builds off the back of what we were able to do last week, which again just helps our players understand the sort of footy they're capable of playing. And it was a different game today than last week's game, so it's capacity to play in different ways and win in different ways, which is a real positive thing to take away from today.
And is that something you think last year you were still unable to do?
What's that in terms of?
Well, just win in all different ways, different venues, different circumstances.
Yeah, I know it's probably one today where at quarter time we'd been challenged, and it was a great response from the players, and that only helps just build their belief around what they're capable of doing, and credit to them today.
We've said it before, but what do you make of Eddie Betson's third quarter? Is pretty influential in terms of.
Yeah, no, he's that sort of player that's capable of really impacting a game quickly. I know the goal he kicked in the far pockets. I was still trying to work out how he got it through, to be honest. But he didn't have, by his own standards, he didn't have a great first half, and he was able to bounce back in the second half and really give us something. And a couple of those goals in the third quarter really pivotal in terms of just building on some of the work we were doing up the ground.
You think contested marking was outstanding today, I thought, around the ground. Is that part of your plan to then say, hey, we can kick to contests?
Yeah, and as I said before, that's one of the things we've been, we can do. We've got some really dangerous tall forwards as well as some small forwards. So sometimes we'll get it done on the ground. Other times we might have to move it through. And today we had to kick longer to contests at times. That was due to some of the pressure on around the ball, which was a pretty hot game. And our guys took a few today, which was pleasing.
Can you identify where you might be better this year than last year this stage?
It's probably too early to tell. I think we've got the benefit of last year, as I've said previously, really has allowed us to build a foundation how we want to play. Now we're able to add some things to that. The players have a pretty clear picture in their head of how we want to play, and each game presents different options and different opportunities. And today was unique in that respect. In the way it was being played in the first quarter, we had to make some adjustment, and I thought the players, were able to adjust really well. But they come off a foundation, a base, whereas last year we were probably building that. So there's something for them to actually fall back on.
Are you exactly where you want to be going to a showdown?
Well, with 2 wins from 2 against 2 high-quality opponents, that's great for our confidence, and clearly a showdown's another great challenge next week. Port had a fantastic win last week against Sydney and played really well, so it sets up well for another big game, and that's the nature of this competition. It's unrelenting in terms of your each week is a new challenge and a different opponent, and we get a great game next week against obviously our crosstown rival.
You've got to be pretty happy with the midfield depth. A few of us probably wondered whether that might be a potential Achilles heel, but there's a real evenness about that group of players underneath Sloane and the top couple.
Yeah, and that's one thing we've worked on, and it's been highlighted throughout the pre-season. They've still got some work to do. They're still building and learning week in, week out. Curtly Handon today probably played his 5th game in the midfield for 3 or 4 years, given his JLT in his first 2 rounds, and they'll keep getting better. The reality is all we're after from them is, as you say, they want them to just come in and play their role, be really even in the contribution they provide, with whether it's their pressure or whether it's their ball, winning capacity. But they're developing their own chemistry and synergy, which is important as well. And there's some more good signs there today.
And just further to that, where's Scott Thompson at?
Yeah, Scott played last night, and he's sort of building back into full match fitness to be ready for selection in coming weeks.
Will he be ready for selection next week?
Yeah, he played again last night, and we thought about bringing Jake back in this week, and it was certainly discussed. And he's certainly a player that we hold in really high regard, and someone who we think is going to be a really important part of our footy club for a long period. And he played again last night. Just thought we need another run under his belt. He played really well, so he'll come into contention.
Depending on Josh Jenkins' injury, would you be comfortable going into next week with Andy Otten as your backup ruckman or second ruckman?
Well, it's something we'll have to look at. He clearly, he was able to do that role today. Whether that's something we want to go to long term, it probably depends on the outcome of Josh and whether we're talking about a short term or something longer. But I'll wait and see what we get from a medical viewpoint.
Is it fair to say that Sam Jacobs, when he gets that massive responsibility, he actually embraces it? He likes it?
Yeah, well, Sam generally does the majority of our ruck work. He probably rucks for nearly 80% of the game usually, and I thought he was fantastic today. I think his ruck work was outstanding. I thought his marking around the ground and some of his follow-up was really probably as good as I've seen in my time at the footy club, and I know he's been working really hard in that space. So it was, again, really good reward for him for the work he's done.
Did Matt Crouch get an injury at the end there or not?
No, not that I'm aware of.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.